stalled out at the $2.25 mark, but XRP has blasted through. And what we talked about yesterday was if we could get through here, we'd make a short-term push at $2.40. We actually came right up to it. So now this is the push we were talking about last night. If we could get past that $2.25, we could have that push up. And we did make a push up. Now, is this the start of something bigger here? So now my title looks a little weird because I was hoping when I started it would still be stalling at that 225 and we could talk about how it could push through and what needed to happen to get to this next tier at 240 and then to 250. But we blew right past. Let me put this in perspective. We blew right past the resistance. This was 225. I thought we were going to be able to talk about it. It was in a good spot, and I was going to show how we could avoid an 11 straight weekend to go red. And it was really close in the whole market because these inverse head and shoulders were forming. And we talked about this yesterday. I thought after 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time last night that XRP was going to start surging. And I put it in my short. XRP primed to surge after 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's not because we thought that there was something weird at that time frame. It was the fact that the clock flipped, and that was the whole basis. XRP was lagging behind, and then I talked about that if we got above $2.25, we'd have $2.40 and $2.52 approximately. And then if we could get past that, there's this $2.60. It depends when we hit it. $2.64 if it hits it here. Now I'm not going to change my title for this live, even though we didn't get in right before it broke the resistance. We had a perfect spot, and then because I was like 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late, it actually happened when I should have been on, I think. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is friggin' beautiful. I'm glad to see this Sunday morning. This is speaking to what we were talking about going into the weekend, how we were thinking that this could be the weekend where we finally broke the red narrative and we could go, and break that 10 straight weeks. We've been talking about and it sucks if you're new because you wouldn't know what we've been talking about, but the XRP Bitcoin pairing was speaking to a big bottom versus Bitcoin, and we could not get off of this. We've been talking about this for days. Also, this inverse head and shoulders we had drawn out, and the back test of a descending wedge, like with the big dump we took before the weekend, it set up perfectly, not just for XRP, we've talked about across the market. And look what the market did. All of a sudden, we got a nice little surge market wide here, and it's been nothing short of spectacular. It's been beautiful. Like, just seeing this makes my heart happy. And there's some that haven't done it. Like, I'm looking at AMP right now. Had this big back test. I'm thinking AMP is prime right now, probably. And, man, I think with AMP, you guys know how I have my spare money on the side for AMP that I always have sitting here for when I think it could be a moment. What are you guys thinking about AMP right now? I'm thinking that could be a serious moment right now. Going through the board here, I think AMP is definitely set up in a position. I think CRO is definitely set up in a position to make a move here. T-Fuel, I think, is in a good spot right now as well. IOTX is, all of these look like they're just getting ready for that phase up. And it's what we talked about going into the weekend. There's a lot of inverse head and shoulders set up. And we wanted to buy the fear and sell the greed. So we talked about a very common mistake if you go back to the live yesterday and on Friday, that most people would be selling the fear when in reality, we should be buying it. That's not the time to sell. And it's a very common mistake that gets made. And I had a very good feeling going into this weekend for the first time in 2.5 months. And I articulated it very nicely while also telling the risk of buying in a market when it was way up at the top. Now, when we got back into extreme fear, that's when opportunities can be taken. But it's certainly not a spot I'm looking to sell when it's the moment of the fear. The moments to sell were when we were up in greed. And I kept talking about how going forward, this is a lesson to be learned. If you were tempted to sell when we were dropping down towards $2, that next time you'll take the profit when it's up over 3 and 350, when it shows the signs of extreme greed. You don't want to be selling into extreme fear. If you've held it down to extreme fear, you got to wait for the bounce back. I talked to my audience many times about ones who wanted to sell, and I said at the very least, you're going to get the bounce back at 240 or 250 to retest the drop point. At least sell out on your own terms. And look, we're up 15% right now almost. And this is to me the beauty of crypto, because once it gets into extreme fear, you better believe that that's where you can start chomping at the bit. And it's amazing because it always works the same way. If somebody tells me there's not artificial manipulation in this market, I would simply say, how can you explain at the exact same time, every single time, that the entire market decides to do it at the exact same time? You can't make that up. Like, look what XRP's done, double bottom. We already drew out the inverse head and shoulders, so I'm not afraid of what's going to happen here. We're not afraid. We're afraid of resistance, but not the fact that it was coming back up. Can we get past 264 is my question. It wasn't about if. It's about if we get a rejection here now. And personally, I still think we've only done 4 waves in crypto, and that looked like an ABC correction that we just went through. So I still believe there's a wave 5. I'm not so heavily invested still because I don't think that there's a wave 5. I think crypto is going to surprise one more time this year. I really do. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And like I've told most of you, I'll take that and I'll ride it back into the bear market if I'm wrong with that part of it. Yes, I've taken profits much higher than it is now on a lot of things. But I've also bought twice as much as I wanted of everything. And that's a message I'll continue to push, especially this cycle. Because if it's not lost on you that if you buy more than you want, you can take profit when you get to the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10x. Watch through the big consolidation because XRP, Bitcoin, DGB, HBAR, Algo, VeChain, a lot of these ZIL, they've all rode back down. Now XRP, as we say, it's faring so much better than most of the market that I think it's a bit absurd that so many people talk trash about it. Because let's face it, XRP was at 28.5 cents in the bear market. It's at $2.55. Even when it dropped down, it was still over $2 after its quick V-shaped recovery. Like, it had all the makings for something special to possibly happen here, and you can never guarantee anything. But this was our best chance to break that streak over the weekend. Now, going into next week is going to be very interesting as well. What is this? Oh yeah, I forgot I have my son's portfolio on here. Duh. But I'll turn the comments back on. But I just wanted to get through that because this is nothing short of what we needed. Like, I don't know how to phrase it. But real quick, before I turn it on, XRP did this. Just look at this and study that real quick, right? And I want you to see something with a few of them that haven't pushed out. This is good. We pushed past this 225, 240, 252. Now all we need to push past is that 264 level. This is fantastic. Big volume surge, which is what we've been waiting for. It feels like forever. But let me show you this real quick. This did the double bottom, initial breakout, back test. So if you missed out on some of them, just don't forget about AMP in these cycles. This AMP is one that I get very excited about when these moments happen because it's so beaten down right now. I'm just going to, that's the way it's going to have to be with AMP. So AMP, you either roll or you die, but I've got enough AMP. I had bought some when it made the drop, and then I was kicking myself just a tiny bit for not selling here because I had bought it in here. We talked about it a couple days ago when we were looking at the possible inversion. Then when it came up here, I swear I should have sold in my head. But now because it came back down here, I have over $750,000 of a million AMP now, to put it in perspective. It's about $4,000 worth in totality. Yes, it came up a tiny bit from where I bought the initial part, so that 4,000 values, the initial buys up a little bit, and I had 450,000. So yeah, I'm up 8% on the first 450,000, but I just bought another 300,000 approximately. Yeah, I figure, hell, I'm talking about it. I might as well make some money if it's going to happen. If it doesn't, I don't make any money. That's okay. I don't mind riding it. So let me turn the comments on. But yeah, so I just bought a little more AMP. I think it was 495 something when it went in. Let me see. Oh, I have 804,000 AMP. Okay, I bought a little more than I thought. The value remains the same. It's worth $4,022 right now. I didn't know it was that many. Well, you know what? That's the way it goes. That's my AMP money. I didn't know it was building up so good. It filled at 0.004971. Oh, I didn't even get 495 on that last fill. Well, that's the way she crumbles. 4971 is apparently what it filled at. But I did tell it could fill up to 4979, so that's on me. I should have just, well, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have filled if I wouldn't have put that. Let's see. Oh my God, this is the first time when I come on a Sunday and I'm like, yes, we've got the elusive volume, because every time we get a pump lately, there was no volume. And I'm like, guys, as much as I want to be happy, there's no friggin' volume. Look at that. That's volume. That's volume. But now we need it to carry through. And you know what's funny? And I'll turn the comments on, but the narrative stayed. When the U.S. wakes up at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter how good it looks overnight, and no matter what the rest of the day has to do, it'll always dump on us when the morning starts. Isn't that comical at this point? So that the U.S. is like, oh, shit, we got to sell everything. Or, you know, it can never do it in a straight way with the USA. It's so crazy. Let me turn these comments on. Wow. Hey, we talked about algo. I actually did a stand, and I always talk about how I do updates on some things, but they don't get as many views. Algo is a perfect example. On Friday, I did an H bar. I said to watch, and then algo quietly building bullish surge. That video only got 886 views. And if you look at my videos, if I do XRP, it all depends. 1,500, 2,000 views. Even the shorts will do good. But I do an H bar and algo video and put XRP at the end of the title. It only got 800 views. But I talked about the quiet surge, not just with algo, but I actually put it in the title for, or with H bar. But with algo, I put the quiet surge in the title because it was quietly surging. And I was buying it on Testicular Tuesdays. And I got up to 33,800. When it started dumping, but it really is building a quiet surge. I feel like algo is in a strategic spot. Hold on, I gotta let Julie's mom in. Sorry, I'm just doing my live. Julie's in the room if you want to go in. So it's this is the power. This is what I like. I like when people don't sell the fear and they go out on their own terms if they want to sell. That's why I kept saying, don't go out on their terms. You go out on your terms when we make the retest back up. And this is what I appreciate. I like this. And I kept telling everybody, I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't tell you to buy. And I can't tell you to sell them when to take profits. I can only tell you what I do. That's it. So, with extreme fear on a Sunday right now, look at this. This is how money changes to our hands, baby. I told everybody the selling point had already passed. When you take profits, it's to be a lesson learned. You never want to take profits in extreme fear. Do it in greed, because when it's in extreme fear, I promise you, that's a signal to the ones who understand the way that works with the fear and greed index, that you're starting to accumulate in extreme fear. In fear, you can start thinking about your positioning, but once it hits extreme fear, it doesn't mean it's done dropping. As you've seen, it dropped another about 10%, but you buy the extreme fear. You buy the fear. Look what I did with AMP, for peep's sake. Just on the air buying another couple 100,000, because the patterns are showing that they held that support, and now I'm waiting for that volume surge on AMP if it can continue through. And I had already bought it down here, but I said to hell with it. We have this golden cross, and if it bites me in the ass, it bites me in the ass, because it's AMP. And that's part of a long-term agenda for me. I just have it on BITUNIX so that I can be in and out. It started with 245,000 tokens. You know, now the fact that that same bid on BITUNIX can buy that much, I'm dumbfounded that it can buy 800,000 AMP now in totality. It's crazy. And I just try to escalate the bags. And if AMP bag goes down, AMP bag goes down. But if I sell it at the right time, let's say it goes to 3,300 even, and I sell it and it goes down, you know, 20%, and I can buy 1 million now, even though it's only worth 3,300, I still have more tokens. The point is, if you're holding an asset, you never want to dump your margin line and be able to buy less than you had before. The worst mistake some of us make, and I've been guilty of it 1 billion times and 27,000 times over. You sell out a position with all the intentions of doing like a trade because you see the market going down. And even if the market goes down, it gets to your levels and you're like, oh, it's going to go down farther and I can get this much more of that much more. And then what ends up happening, you get this much less of that much less. So now we need to keep seeing level by level because it came up so quick. It's going to have these quick comeback downs. Remember the first time when it came up, just so we can stay on track. First time it came up, oh my God, the Bitcoin pairing hit that target already? Oh shit, that was quick. That was our target out of here. Remember our target, the 3003? If you guys wonder my levels, just always look when it makes the return run up, where it uses the resistance. Did it not level that, and now it's using it as that resistance for the first tier? I mean, that's doing this in a lot into the future, doing it much into the past. Trump tweet. Ooh. Let me go on Truth real quick and see what he said. But I like to put the levels in strategic spots where we have like little gap areas and little areas that end up sweeping liquidity. Now, I hope it's not just a leverage sweep because we took out a lot of short leverage. Now we could take up the upper leverage, but there is more above. XRP has it a little bit higher, but this is what I'm going to be intrigued about. Are we just going to come through? I don't want it to just be a quick up and back down. I want this to have follow through. But we should sweep every level we start pushing up. That's why I keep looking across all crypto. We want this to sweep every level and not get hindered here. So the point is, when it came above 225, it swept it this morning, right? When it came above 240, or I mean, oh no, not here, 240, the first area. God, that's 252 and 260. I know we swept 240 as well. What, I don't have that on the chart anymore? See, we're sweeping $2.52 right now. This is good. It happened so fast. It's a short-term reversal, just in a small time frame. But we're sweeping this breakout area. That's what we're doing right now. We're making sure that these levels are tolerated. If not, we'll go back to 240. I don't really want to come back down there, though. Nice 45-minute candle, though. That's a beautifully... We got to keep volume coming in, but that's a beautiful candle. God, I want to see this carry through so freaking bad. If we got to carry through here, we're literally retesting all these resistance support lines right now. XRP needs to get over next area, we know. It's holding 252 right now. So right now, 252 we're trying to hold. If not, it could be... I'm just going through all of the stuff. Now we've got a little bit of a mess here. Now I don't know what to believe. Citigroup, third largest U.S. bank, accidentally sent a customer $81 trillion instead of $280. President Trump announces a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, and ADA. Oh boy. I don't know about this. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this. Hold on. Honestly, we're going to have to do some research here. We are going to have to do some serious research because I don't feel bad about any of these. These look like inverse head and shoulders, but if this is fake or if there's something to this that we need to see, and who put this out? Watcher Guru? Okay, just until I can figure this out, I need to figure this out. So until I can figure this out, I sold my AMP for just 1 second because I gotta see something here. Because if I have money in it, then I'm gonna be biased towards AMP or towards what's going on. I do have money in a lot of things, but AMP's my short term. I have Truth Social on my phone. Hold on. Well, technically, I didn't sell AMP. Well, it all depends if it goes through, but technically, I'm not out of AMP. I'm just going to let it sit there for a little bit and see so I can read this. I don't just want to sell it and then have to make a decision again in a couple minutes. I want to actually see this through, so. And see what this says. So, I'm on my phone. I want to see Truth, what it says. What? I don't have it on here on my new phone. Fuck. All right, let's see. Trump. It can never just be because the market was ready to take a little bit of a push, huh? It has to be because of some false pretense. I hate that. He said it on Truth. Oh, it's in my... Yeah, I seen it in the Telegram. I showed this. Oh, you're talking about somebody put this in here now. Awesome. So, Donald Trump, a U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the presidential working group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, and ADA. I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again. I'll be honest, I'm not surprised about Solana, but ADA, it is really true what they said about Charles Hockinson having a ticket to the government. I've seen those rumors for years. I mean, but I don't know if this is true or not. I know it's from his Truth Social, but I have a hard time believing that it would. It's just throwing me off because to have Solana... I'm telling you right now, that Solana part makes me think this is fake, honestly. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. This is going to be a freaking... I hope this isn't fake. I really do hope this isn't fake. I do. I know it was 29 minutes ago from his account. But the cool thing is notice he didn't mention Bitcoin or Ethereum. If that's true, he didn't mention Ethereum or Bitcoin in it. Why would I add 88 to my future intro millionaire? I don't have anything else besides the 3 I like that I started with my intro. I don't just add things in because I like something else. My intro is my intro. XRP, XLM, DGB. I hope it's true. I feel like if you want my honest opinion, I don't think it should have been anything to do with ADA. But then again, I always said my only hate for it is that Charles Hockinson kind of put us under the bus back in 2021. That's the only reason I was like, fuck you, Charles, then. You're not even helping out our cause at all. You're a little pansy. So I had a hard time supporting his project, but you know, now it's already at the 25% bang. So you're looking to buy these before this bang because now everybody's going to get caught up in liquidity if it does come back down. This has a positive effect for all of crypto, though, eventually. You know, even if it's not mentioned, it still has a positive impact. But this could cause that institutional flood. Don't compare pricing points from Solana and ADA. That's going to crush you. Just like you can't compare the price point of XRP and Bitcoin. It's a completely different ballgame. Like, just to put, for example, just if I'm being honest, you got to look at returns on their own. Solana total supply is 507.6 million, okay? ADA total, whoops, is 45 billion. So the pricing might be higher on Solana, but there's 44.5 billion more tokens of ADA. So you're never going to get the price of Solana on ADA. It's just not going to happen. Not the way it moves. Unless we get a massive, massive amount of capital coming in, which we could. Who knows? Why would people dump H-bar? Are you guys out of your minds? They might not have announced H-bar as a U.S. strategic reserve. And that's probably why the price is dropping right now, because people are, in fact, dropping. I would not drop I would not. Be happy with the XRP you have and that you bought with us in the bear market. I'm just saying. Yeah, H-bar's just announced they're working with Swift, so pick your poisons. I'm curious to see how this plays out in some of these sectors. I really, really am, guys. The longer that this stays true, because there's going to be that moment. No, do not dump your ISO tokens. It's why we've looked for deeper ones like MXC, which I have 1 million tokens of. I have a couple 100,000, I think 300,000 IOTX. You know, I have the T-Fuel. I know T-Fuel is not... I consider it an IoT token, an Internet of Things, because Theta is absolutely in the framework of the Internet of Things for the new Internet with Filecoin. And I think Theta Fuel actually plays into that as well. So that's why I have, you know, what is it, 50,000? I think it's 50,000 Theta Fuel. Somewhere around there. Could be a little over.
Happy guys.
But I firmly believe that we have a moment coming. It's just, I don't want people to, man. Everybody, that's why we try not to get caught in our emotions. Because look how, when it was an extreme fear at 10, we're sitting there like, oh my God, even if we do dump again, we know that this, just by our own history and understanding, the crypto fear and greed, when it's an extreme fear, it's such a buying point. Doesn't mean it can't go down still, but it's usually the last part of that dump. Now we're going to see tonight what the next price point, or the next point is with the crypto fear and greed. We've also been hanging on to the fact that when you look at the liquidation zones, that there's massive liquidity I mean, when I say massive, I mean massive, but you got to go into the monthly so we can see it all. No, we believe we're only done 4 waves out of 5 so far. 284 is that big liquidity area we're hunting. Notice, though, how this area is gone. Right up above. That's because everybody took profit from up there. So that's not our big liquidity concern anymore. $2.89 is where we need to push past once we clear this.
I got cash in the monies, okay?
Yep. I wouldn't sell it. I didn't say to sell it at these drops. I said when it was before we turned and looked at a right shoulder, that was at, I mean, we would have to pass that $3, $3.20. Those are the areas, not down at $2. But there's teaching moments while it's going down to say, oh, well, if we would have done this or if you would have done that, you wouldn't be asking me if you should sell or you did sell because you're in fear. That's all different reasons. It's all. I was buying stuff on the way down as you got. There's things that I have bought that were not in my portfolio, so I didn't look at things that I had already bought in the bear market. I was looking at things that were still in bear market territory, like MXC and IOTX. Hell, T-Fuel when we got it. Trying to take a shot on AMP as well when it's in these very big consolidatory moments. You know, when it's dumped down so much. I mean, I don't remember the last time I seen AMP this cheap back here. But that was only after this run. But before this, I mean, it was before this entire rally. And now it's built this huge descending wedge. And it's like, if I was going to take a reshot at something, I'm taking them in the descending wedge breakouts. Like, this is beautiful. And the good thing about this is look, the total 3 is outperforming the total crypto market cap. The total 3 is all cryptos minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. The total crypto market cap is everything. So right now, we've had a pretty nice conversion right now with a 6.8% increase in the total 3 as to where the total crypto market cap grew 3.28%. Now, more money did find itself still, unfortunately, into Bitcoin and Ethereum, but does this not start speaking to the fact that, oh, I'm not selling shit with H-bar. There is no friggin' way. Nope. I'm not selling H-bar. In fact, if H-bar for whatever reason dives off, because some people might, like some people are selling it out to get into probably XRP, Solana, and ADA. And I think it's a huge mistake to get rid of H-bar. I really do. I really, really do. Yeah, now this should push out. I mean, if this is the case, we can look at this long term now, and this should, I mean, it seems true. If eventually, obviously, we're gonna get to that $1.51, but it's better than that now because of the consolidation. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, ADA, it's transforming itself right before our very eye. Oh, it's still going to go into that same area. So right now, a breakout should get you in the short term to $1.46. And it's so funny because if I encourage all of you, please, if you're new to my audience, if you've never seen my initial content, my initial video, how true it rings today, what I put back on the end of March of 2021, and all you have to do is go to my videos and then filter them by most viewed. It's literally my most viewed video, and it's my very first one. At 13,000 views, it's the first video. If you watch that video today, I listened to it last night because somebody commented it and commented about something I said and they can't, it rings so true now. If you watch that video, I did last night, the entire 30 minutes. And listening to myself from all those years ago, saying what was going to happen and now actually seeing how it fell into place. And now today, Trump not doing a Bitcoin reserve and saying, this is everything I've talked about for years. It's crazy. And like some of the community who's been with us for years, and now to hear Trump say that, you wonder why the case hasn't been settled yet. You ever wonder? I'm just saying, it's because they don't want people to it's not even just XRP. These ISO and IoT tokens alike, I'm telling you right now, it's going to make us so friggin' rich. It's already made my life different. And I know some of you it's done the same for, but we haven't seen shit. If there's still the wave 5 of this cycle, which there should be, the profit points on some are so that you can buy the low points of others as well in the same similar fashion. Like an IoT token is an IoT token. The Internet of Things is very real. The ISO tokens are ISO tokens. It's very real. But the reserve tokens now are reserve tokens, and now that becomes very real. Did I think Solana could be? I didn't know because it's the banker's coin, and it makes too much sense because they would artificially manipulate that price up. It makes too much sense. ADA, Charles Hawkinson spoke, and I guess you have to give him credit because he said he had the inside track, if you decode what he says, to the government's play, basically to the pockets of the big fish. So obviously he was not lying about that. And now, yeah, am I stupid for letting my emotion not let me own ADA? You better believe it. You know, like that's the thing I talk about emotion. So none of us are guilt-free when it comes to emotion. So I'm always looking at ways I can improve, and that's one right there. That's one right there. Yes, it did, Sean. Unbelievable. Well, it's, if you don't know yet, Sean, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. So, on Trump's Truth, he put, a U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the presidential working group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve. Remember, DGB is a nonprofit, so this is pretty cool. Hold on, I'm gonna go get my son a snack real quick. Tommy, you want a snacky? I know what you are. Come here, buddy. No, grab your phone. Daddy's working right now. Yeah, I gotta keep working. Come here, buddy. Sorry, everybody. I'm here by myself with my son. He's special needs, as some of you know. But Julie's out right now with her mom because her sister's getting married this summer. So they're out doing the shopping for her sister's bridal thing, and I don't know, they might have to pick their stuff out. I'm not exactly sure. But I told her to go, and I got this, so holy mother of God.